Welcome back to the studio. I am here rounding out the 2024 50K podium with our third place female finisher, Hannah Allgood. Welcome to the studio, Hannah. How are you feeling?
Still tired. My throat hurts, but otherwise I feel good. Yeah.
Good. Well, this is your first rut. What were you thinking going into it? What was exciting you about the race? Why did you sign up?
Well, originally I signed up because one of my good friends wanted to. He's like, this would be so fun as a weekend. So that was when I signed up, and then was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do this based on the rest of my season. And then last minute, here we are. So even if you talked to me yesterday, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm ready for this adventure, but yeah, got it done.
Yeah. So, what was your mindset going into the race? So, obviously, you were unsure yesterday, but you woke up this morning and decided to still toe the start line. What were your emotions? What were you sort of thinking as you were at that start line in the dark, lining up? What was going through your mind at that point?
Yeah, so for me, the beginning of this season, I set a goal with my sports psych. And so my goal of 2024 was growth and improvement. And so I knew this is a race that I wasn't very comfortable with. But having the mindset of like, okay, I'm just trying to see where I'm at. How can I improve and get better? And so that was kind of where I was at this morning of this is kind of fulfill that goal. And so staying true to
Yeah.
that.
So what were you thinking about improving? So if you weren't comfortable with the race, is it kind of the technicality of the course or what exactly were you hoping to improve? And do you feel like you succeeded with that goal?
Yeah, so I would say my for me personally, like this like talus and shale and all that stuff is not my personal preference for a lot of
That's most of the course.
yes. And so I was honestly I watched so many videos and I was like, oh man, what am I getting myself into? But yeah, and so I think looking at it as an opportunity of like you get to compete against really strong women, you get to do this. And I think just having that appreciation of gratitude of like maybe it's not what I'm best at, but I can still improve and get better. And I would say like looking back even a year ago, I guarantee like I would have I done if I did this last year, like this would have been much better. So I think just trying to change that mindset a little bit, even though I was unsure.
That's an amazing mindset to have. Going into a race like the rut, it's so challenging, it's grueling. I mean, it is the most technical race in the United States, and to use that as a way to improve is some I'm just going to remember that. Okay, what race do I need to do?
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So, what was your fueling strategy going into the race? Was it similar to sort of the other races that you're more comfortable with? Did you feel like you had to change that up at all, or what? Did you feel like you were able to execute it?
Yeah, so I felt overall pretty good. I would say one challenge always with this is I just had like all of my gels in my pack, so it was like 14 gels or something. So that was a lot. And then I had a belt with a bottle, and then I had two front bottles. And so I need a lot of water because I was like, if I were both high altitude as well as like higher intensity. And so I didn't know if that was the right move, but for me, I was like so grateful to have that third bottle, and then kind of lost track very early on of like, oh, what time did I eat a Joe? I was like, I'm just going to keep going. And
Mhm.
so yeah, I have been using just like never second. So I just was like hammering those and pretty much was doing a non-caf and a caffeinated kind of every hour after the first two. And then just tons of water. Again, I think that was the big key thing for me, filling up at every aid station. Cause yeah, I felt really good. Almost cramped like the last little climb at 29 and then just like chugged 500 mils and was like, please do not let me cramp at the last mile. That would be horrid. But yeah, so I feel good about it. I didn't puke at the end of the finish, so that's a like first this year. So yeah. Last
Sweet.
year was all
Awesome.
during the race. This year's been all after. And so today I didn't have any.
What a
So
win.
this is great.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Huge win.
That's awesome. So going into the race, who were you sort of thinking were going to be your competitors? Do you feel like that ended up playing out? Did you see them at all during the race? And if you did, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, like Claire's performance didn't surprise me at all. I mean, she was in OCC shape. I was like, she's gonna take it out hard and go for it. And I mean, saw her for a little bit here and there on climbs when it was like wider open. But I was like, I'm not where she's at, especially with again coming off of Lone Peak. Like knew she had those Mount Marathon legs. I was like, we'll see you later. And then like Jasmine and I were together quite a bit, or like, could see her consistently. We're kind of right behind, or I was right behind Jasmine for most of it until Lone Peak. Same thing. I was like, see you, Jasmine. But that was really fun. And I mean, I think that, I can never remember the quote, but like, I think they were the two that I was like, okay, I think it's going to be us three really pushing each other. And I think that we just raised each other up and like all really pulled out really strong performances. Even if, maybe wasn't our like A races, I think that's what made us run so fast. And I mean, it made me run way faster. So I appreciate having that like competition. So it was fun to see them out there and then just be able to share miles, even if I was like a little bit behind them. So
yeah. Well, you now have the third fastest time on the course. So it is your first time. So
we'll take it.
Do you think that you'd come back to a race like this? I mean, I know it's a little bit out of your scope of technicality, but clearly it's not now. Third place, first time here.
Yeah, I am like a broken record of like, I need to work on that stuff still. And so I think there's definitely a potential chance of like, again, once you know the course, you kind of know what to expect. I think there's some things that you maybe are nervous about of like, hitting the same splits. But yeah, I think I would do it again now knowing a little bit more of just what to expect or where my skills lie, where I could really push the pace, or I probably would have pushed some of the like open fire roads a little bit more than I did today. But yeah, I think it would be fun to come again. And I also would say like, volunteers and everybody on the course was just like such a fun environment and like so happy and constantly cheering you on. And so I think that is what really makes it a special event, is just like everyone around. And yeah, everybody was so great, volunteers, people, and just cheering you on. And that's what makes it fun.
Isn't it so crazy? You get to the summit of Lone Peak, you're at the top of a legit mountain, and there's just like a whole squad cheering you on.
Yeah.
Were you just like, what is happening right now?
Well, it was great because I saw Bailey a couple of times, and she kind of knew I was mentally yesterday. And so she was like, you're going to finish it. Like, you got this. Let's go. And so I was like, okay. Like, and I knew for me, like, once I got to the top of Lone Peak, I was like, of course I will finish this unless, crazy injury or something. But it was so fun to have people up there and just like friendly faces. Like, again, just cheering you on when maybe like, it was just different than I expected. So yeah, it was great.
That's awesome. So what is next for you?
Yeah, ironically, I'm doing Javelina 100. So,
just a little different than the rut, I would say.
Yeah, nothing to do with it. But, like I said, kind of going off of the theme of growth and improvement this year is like I've never run 100 miles. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily think I can run flat fast. So I'm excited to work on that because I've really kind of been falling more into these like vertical, like more verti races. So I'm really excited, a little bit nervous about just like 5 laps if I'm just going to be like, we're time warp here. But yeah, so despite doing Javelin 100, yeah, I'm still happy I did this today. It was a good, 6 hours on feet.
Yeah, well, I believe anything is possible from you after today. So I'm really excited to see you throw down at Javelina. It's going to be really fun to see.
It'll be fun. I'm excited. Well, I guess we'll see if I can run 100 miles or not.
All you have is just an 11-hour drive today, and then you're ready to go. Her ultra continues because she's doing that drive. So
yes, yeah. Thankfully, I have two, my husband and my friend Cody with me because there's no way I could drive 11 hours back to Colorado.
11-hour relay.
Yeah, we got it.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much, Hannah. We're gonna continue with the live stream here and just do a little bit of a recap. So we'll be back momentarily.